I mean, it's part of that process of us trusting each other
Yeah.
and having partnership.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
do you feel like what you're doing now is setting the trend for that? Because you are finding brands right now. It's partnering them with corporate, but at a certain point, do we lean toward more of that? All right, let's have create this infrastructure.
I would love to with the right investment. It's going to take a lot of money, but not a lot, like 10 million.
10 million?
Yeah, that's it.
10 million to do what?
To build that, I think to start it, to start that infrastructure,
But
to
then, so
start
then
like that.
there comes a thing where it's like fabrics, even fabrics, right? And this was like when I was talking to somebody and they was like, when they went to Milan and they was like, it, it, it was hard for people to fully understand what Ye was talking about, but it was like even the fabric is different. Like you got to actually go to Italy to actually have access to the richest level of fabric. So it's almost like a monopoly that the fashion houses have, which makes it hard, especially like to grow like a luxury brand.
Yeah. There's always a way to get around stuff. And there are so many different fabric manufacturers in the world. You're talking about the world. Like there are so many fabric manufacturers in the world. And a lot of that stuff is built on relationships. So, but who has the resources to go to Italy, stay in Italy for a bit and build the relationships with the manufacturers? Not a lot of Black designers have that opportunity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
so it's like, all right, Virgil, right? He was somebody that had a Off-White,
Yep.
and then Dap had raised questions about Off-White, like, was it a black owned brand? But now it's like, all right, well, if you get help from the outside,
Mm-hmm.
they have resources that you might not have.
Right.
So as a black owned company, like I feel like how far can you go if you're just always just 100% incubated as just being black?
That's a great question, Rashad, because our community we throw each other under the bus for getting outside investment.
And shout out to
right?
Dap. Shout out to Dap. I'm just saying that was that's what he said. That was a topic. So
Definitely shout out to DAP. I'm actually representing DAP today. I was like,
See?
let me let me bring him in the building with me. We got to get over that though. Like in order to grow and scale stuff, we can't say, you know what, we're not able to grow as big as the other brands, but the other brands were willing to take investment. And sometimes that investment, like for example, Tommy Hilfiger, after he went bankrupt, he partnered with a factory overseas. That was his main investor, right? That's how he was able to bring his brand back. And so we have to allow people to grow. Our community, we have to allow brands to grow. And sometimes that's going to mean that you're going to get investment from people that's not like you. But at the end of the day, if you can grow and do your thing, think about the opportunities that they can open up for so many other people. Mm-hmm. Like we can't keep stunting our growth by saying the only way we're going to grow is if I get money from a black owned.
So how do we create that evolution? Because I feel like for our brands, there's like a time limit. There's a time stamp on them. It's like you're going to be hot for 5 to 10 years, then it's over, and then there's a new brand. So how do we manage that level of consistency? Like I like what you said about when you watch Nicole's. Look, what you said that I could see the evolution. Mm-hmm. So that's important because we need to have something that's sustainable, like a Ralph Lauren or a Tommy Hilfiger. These brands have been here for decades. How do we get to that point, like for us?
We have to be willing to give up some equity, mm-hmm. and we have to be willing to bring in some investors because it is very hard to grow and scale without capital. And so many of us are designers will say to me, I can't get anybody to invest in my brand. And I said, oh, how many investors have you pitched? And then they're like, oh, I sent this to one person. And I was like, well, you can't send your investment deck to one person and then say you can't find investors. Or send me your investment deck. I actually know a couple people who might be interested. And, we have to do what we need to do to get what we need to get in order to grow.
Can I just follow up with that? Because that's interesting. Because I don't think we've ever talked about what does that pitch look like from the fashion world. We know in the world of business, there's like you got to have these things when we're trying. Is it similar, or are there some nuances that you have to have?
No, it's similar. Now, I will tell you, fashion businesses are harder to get investment for because people don't feel like it's as sure as like a tech company. But I think that if you can show your community, like you have a much more of an opportunity to actually get investment if you've got a big community. So like some designers like Hanifa, like she has a huge community of like Black women. I mean, she's killing it, and shout out to her. Telfar has a huge community. So there's some people who got huge. If you can build out that community piece, I think you can really approach the investment like any other business would.
There's another woman I'm thinking of. My wife buys all the time. Her stuff is in Target.
Fee Noel.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Talk about community.
Fee Noel, she was one of the designers on the sneaker.
I know. I can't remember the name. Yeah. We actually ran into her.
Okay.
By mistake on the street.
Yeah, she's dope. Fee is so dope.
And
she has a store now in Brooklyn too.
Yeah, I know. I can see my charges. I can see them.
It's an investment piece.
Exactly.
It's an investment piece, Troy.